sis, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is no one. But that's okay. If you guys want to be house guest of the day, make sure you check out our Patreon link in the info box below. If you don't, this monkey is gonna be the house guest of the day, and I don't know if we can handle that. Alright, so make sure you check it out. We really appreciate it. Alright, so it is eviction day, but let's rewind to yesterday. Raul is not giving up yet. He's up on the block against Kelsey, and he really sort of wants to stay. So he was campaigning to Cass, and Cass is like, so like, what do you have to offer me? And she's like, first of all, why don't you give me a bite of your Nutella sandwich? Oh, Cass, she's always eating. Like, I'm not trying to call her out, but like, did anybody else notice she's like always eating? Alright, so anyway, she's like, no one has really campaigned to me yet. Give me your best. And Raul was like, oh, come on, like, Kelsey has your vote. I'm not stupid. And Cass is like, no, Kelsey assumes she has my vote, but she hasn't been like campaigning to me, which is not true. Like, Kelsey definitely has Cass's vote. But Raul's like, okay, wait. Here's the thing about Raul's campaign strategy. He, like, insults people and then is like, but I'll help you. He, like, insults their games. It's really weird. So he's like, if I go, you're next, honey. And he's, like, really sassy about it, and he's telling her, like, you really suck at competitions, like, you have a good social game, but, like, other stuff you really suck at. Like, your social game is really what's saving you here. So he's telling her, we could work together, I'll protect you, like, I want to work with the underdogs, not the top dogs, like Jared and Kelsey. So it doesn't really seem like this is working, but Raul's like, yeah, I'll talk to you again soon, and you don't have to give me an answer right now. Pretty sure the answer is no, honey. Alright, so then Ramsey, okay. Remember like a couple days ago when Maddie and Ramsey were like, oh, we really want to work with Tim, but like we have to approach him about it, and they were like so nervous about it. Well, Ramsey finally talked to Tim last night about working together. He was like, Tim, I'd love to work with you, and then Maddie, and then like maybe we could add on Cass. So Tim's like, well, I'm interested, but I need to think about it more. He's basically telling Ramsey like, yeah, I like kind of have a crush on someone else. So he also mentions, like, he's not really sure about including Cassandra in on this, which is interesting because initially when Maddie and Ramsey were talking about forming this alliance with Tim, they did not want to include Cassandra in this, but it's interesting that Ramsey, like, freaked out and was like, and we could add on Cass. He should have just stuck with his gut, but Tim was like, well, Cassandra's wishy-washy, like, I don't know if we want her in on this. So then Tim is saying, like, Ramsey, I trust you, I respect how you and Maddie have reinvented yourselves in this game, and you've really kind of turned it around. Have they? But Tim mentions again, like, he's not really sure that he wants to get into a solid alliance with anyone. He was talking about going through the whole game without like, any official alliances. So Tim says, like, even though I'm not sure about the alliance yet, I want you to know if I win HOH, I would not be putting up you or Maddie. So he tells Ramsey, like, we'll talk about it more tomorrow after the HOH. We'll see who's in power, and then we'll talk about it. That's what I got from that. So then Ramsey is talking to Maddie about his chat with Tim, and he's like, oh, shucks, they shouldn't have mentioned Cass. What was I thinking? So Ramsey's like, on the positive side, he feels like Tim really does want to work with them without Cassandra. And then, like, 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, no, it was really good. Like, I think it's a done deal that Tim's going to work with us. I don't think so. But Ramsey mentions something pretty interesting. He's a little bit nervous that Tim wants Maddie to win more than he wants Ramsey to win, like, the whole game. And Maddie's like, yeah, that makes sense because, like, I've made really big moves. So she's telling Ramsey, like, oh, Tim will feel the same way about you too once you start making moves. Oh, snap. All right. So Cassandra was talking to Jared and Kelsey, and she was telling them about Raul's earlier campaigning with the Nutella sandwich, and I think she left that part out. But Kelsey was upset to hear about this because she's like, Raul's effing up our game on his way out of the house. Like, how dare he try to stay in the house? She's saying that it's just like the way that Mitch went out trying to throw Jared and Kelsey under the bus. So she's like crapping about Raul campaigning. I'm sorry, it's just like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What do you want him to say, really? So Cassandra's like, you know what, who cares? He's going home. Yeah, he is. Alright, so Raul was campaigning to Phil again, and he was like, if you keep me, I'll tell Jared to not go after you next week. And he's like, that's pretty much all I have to offer. He's so bad at campaigning. But Phil is like, well, that sounds great, but it's not me or Nick that you need to convince. Even if we vote for you, it's not going to be enough. Like, you need to make sure you have all these other people too. So, like, you need to go out and get their votes, and then we'll talk again. Again, it's not looking good for Raul. So Jared, Kelsey, and Raul were chatting in the bedroom, and Raul starts apologizing for his campaigning this week, but he reminds them, like, I'm a player first, and then your friend. Like, he's trying to stay in this game. He's got to do what he's got to do. So it's not enough for Jared. Jared is like, well, I'm upset that you're saying one thing to my face and then, like, doing another thing. And Kelsey is, like, telling him, you need to be careful that you're not making Jared an even bigger threat. Like, she's so concerned about Jared's game. It's just weird. Like, you need to worry about your own game. But still, she's basically telling Raul, like, stop campaigning. It's not cool. So then Kelsey and Jared were alone, and she was crying, and she's just like, I'm so sick of these people, and I'm sad because I'm up against Raul, and she was like all upset. And then Jared was like trying to cheer her up with this story he was telling with like a pirate accent. So then Cass comes over to comfort her. She's using these weird voices too. She's doing like this crazy southern accent. Well, I guess whenever you see someone cry, just like break out some crazy ass accent and that makes everything okay. It was a pretty low-key night for the most part. Raul did try to campaign a bit more to some other people, and again, he was like insulting them and then being like, but I'll help you in the game. It wasn't very effective, and most of the house guests went to bed pretty early. I definitely had some season 2 flashbacks, like when they used to go to bed at 11, like consistently. It was so weird, but it was awesome. Alright. So this morning, however, was freaking crazy and weird. So I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But there has been some tension between Cass and Tim the past like day and a half. And at first I wasn't sure if it was real or not, or if they were just like trying to put on a show. But I think at this point, it's kind of real. So this morning, over breakfast, Nikki was complaining to Tim about Cassandra, and she was just like, oh, I can't wait to put her up on the block. And Tim was like, yeah, she's being a freaking cow. Oh, snap. So then Tim was talking to Jared and Kelsey in the bathroom area, and Jared was like, we all know that Cassandra has a deal with everyone. And Tim was like, yeah, I know, but I'm not playing with that. So he's like trying to distance himself from Cassandra and all of her deals. So he's like, Cassandra's making all these double deals, but I don't even have any deals with anyone, so like I'm not about that life. So then Cassandra walks in and she's just like, if any of you think that I'm working against you, go ahead and put me up on the block. And she's saying, I don't want to work with you if you think I'm working against you. Whoa, where is this coming from? So then Kelsey is asking Cassandra to please go talk to Tim and fix things, just have like a direct one-on-one conversation with him and kind of iron things out. And Cass is like, no, if he doesn't trust me, that's fine. I'm not dealing with this. Like, you go talk to him. So then Kelsey was talking to Jared about Cassandra, and Jared was like, well, her problem is that she's got this huge web of lies. So people are like really down on Cass right now, and it seems like she could be getting caught up in her lies right now. Ugh. So they both agree that she's being childish, and they're not happy with her right now. So then Cass and Tim kind of were arguing like all throughout this morning and this afternoon even, and it seems like this somehow stems from when Cass told Tim that the brothers were saying that they were going to put up the internationals if they won HOH. So I don't know why exactly that information caused this problem. I don't know if like Tim didn't believe her or what. It's hard to figure out what exactly was going on there. I think it was like a number of things that just like ticked them off with each other. So then they were in the pink bedroom with Joel, and Tim is just like, I worked really hard at the beginning of this week to keep you off the block. Why are you treating me like a leper? So Cass is like, well, you've been treating me like crap too. You never listen to me, blah, blah, blah. And Tim is like, oh my god. Apparently, I guess Tim like made some joke like he was gonna put Cass up on the block or something. And he was like, I would never put you up, you idiot. And he kept saying like, you idiot. And it was just, I mean, that's not nice, but it was really funny to hear him say it. Something about the word idiot just makes me laugh nowadays. But anyway, Joel was there, and he was, like, trying to mediate, sort of, but you know how Joel is. He was like, no, guys, stop. It was very Willy Wonka. So then they take it back to the game, and Tim is like, I think that we should get rid of the brothers next because it sounds like they're coming after me. So Cass is like, well, I think we can get rid of Maddie before we get rid of them. So then Tim starts accusing her of having this side deal with the bros. She's denying it. By the way, she does have a deal with them. She's got a deal with pretty much everyone in the house right now. So then he's like, well, if you don't have a deal with them, I guess we can get rid of them, right? So they were still fighting when the feeds went down today, and the feeds are going to be down until after the show tonight. So I don't know if they resolved it before the live show or what. Wow. I'm just thinking, like, what's gonna happen with this twist if, like, Nikki ends up being the HOH? Because she's, like, ready to nominate Cassandra. Is Tim gonna try to convince her not to, or is he just gonna roll with it? It's gonna be really interesting. I think Nikki has a good chance of being voted, you know, in the top 2 and then competing for that HOH, so you never know. And it seems like some of this drama, too, is Tim being caught between Cassandra and Nikki again, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens depending on who wins this HOH. But let me know who you guys voted for, if you did vote for the HOH this week. And let me know, I don't know, what you want to see happen. I don't know. Who do you think is going to go home next? We know Raul is going home tonight, but who do you want to go next? And until tomorrow, much love.